and our first topic is Hollywood. Everybody likes to watch a good movie. In fact, last night I got my copy of the Top Gun Maverick, and I enjoyed watching that last night. So I enjoy a good movie. And part of the challenge in Hollywood, as some of you may or may not feel, I don't know, but sometimes you kind of wonder why they produce the content that they do. And a lot of times it's because the people with the money get to make the movies. And so the people with the money get to make the movies, and the people that with the money get to hire the people that they want. So a lot of times you've got this subculture in Hollywood of the A-list actors, the one that all the money people go after to make their big blockbuster movies. And then you have the B-list actors and actresses that go after all the other stuff. You know, you've got your Christian movies, and you've got your adventure movies, and you've got your docudramas and documentaries. And, you know, people find their niche and work in various areas of Hollywood. But the big money follows the blockbuster movies, and they're kind of in a small genre of what will attract large audiences. Well, what if you have a subject you really, really are passionate about and you want to do, but it's not going to bring hundreds of thousands of people to the box office and be able to pay a huge, huge budget? Well, the big money people aren't interested in you, and that can create a problem. So blockchain is actually being thought of as a potential contributor to help solve that problem. And so what I'd like to do is talk about this article here, Breaking the Chain, how blockchain is sponsoring more equity and transparency in Hollywood. Now, the equity part is having more movies that talk about various subjects and different subjects. Transparency, of course, is a lot in the way the actors and actresses get paid and the honesty with which they're paid. So I'm going to scroll down here, so just bear with me as I scroll down. It says, okay, start with transparency and ownership. If you write a script, you want to get paid for it. If you write a script, second part, you don't want somebody else to steal it, use it, and get paid for it and leave you out in the cold. So part of what blockchain does is it creates an immutable record of the data that is on it. And if you have a blockchain that is just specifically for scripts, and maybe some other rules on how you get paid for scripts, who can use it, who owns the copyright, who gets to drill in and actually use it or modify it. If you have it on a blockchain, it creates an immutable record of that ownership. And so they're looking now to blockchain as a way to stop the court disputes between producers and directors or between studios and actors. It's usually about ownership and compensation issues. So what they want to do is get out of court, so to speak. A lot of money is wasted, and a lot of the reason why these big budget films have to be larger budgets than necessary is simply because of the contingency for litigating problems that may arise later on when they have to go to court. So hopefully that'll help, reduce the amount of disputes. The next thing is transparency and financial compensation. Now, we've talked a little bit about the financial compensation for the script writing, but that's also the financial compensation when it comes to who gets paid for what, based on how successful the movie is, how many screens it shows in front of, how much they get off of each DVD or Blu-ray that is sold, how much they get from each streaming event when Netflix streams it or another streaming service streams the particular movie. How much do the people who own the movie and acted in the movie get paid? So usually what happens is compensation goes down a ways, and at some point somebody gets bent out of shape because they don't feel the other side is reporting all the revenue or reporting all of the data that's associated with how they get compensated in their contracts. So you have a picture of the lawyers running to court back in the time when we were wearing masks for COVID. But see, what blockchain has is a thing called smart contracts. In the Ethereum blockchain and some other lesser known blockchains, there are smart contracts that in this case would take the information that's on the contract between the producer and the actor. It would indemnify them in writing, and you'd test that smart contract to make sure that when you put in the amount of revenue earned at the movie theater box office, you put in the amount of revenue earned from DVD sales or from streaming services or from contracts that you get let out for the movie to appear on Netflix exclusively, or all of those type of nuances in a contract. You put that in a pre-agreed set of terms that are set up in the smart contracts. And once they're in the blockchain, as long as everybody along the way, like the movie theaters are putting in their information, the DVD or Blu-ray resellers are putting in their information, everybody that's a participant in the blockchain puts in their information, the smart contract is automatically invoked, and in each situation then a check gets cut to the actors or actresses, people who participated and have a residual type of compensation that's supposed to come from the movie. So with those kind of agreements, it can keep people out of court and cut down the number of disputes about the actor compensation. Now, let's get to the big one, the one that I like the most. In italics up there, it says, who pays the piper dictates the tune. Well, here's those big money people. Whoever actually has the big money gets to make their movies. Those people who don't have enough money to fund it don't get the movies made, or they get shut down because a particular person with money says, nah, I don't want to make that movie. So what you've got here is decentralized movie funding done out of a blockchain. There's a company called Dream Frames that has actually created a decentralized funding process in a blockchain for movies, so people can invest in a type of movie or a movie and be able to buy a piece of it, okay? And they can actually invest in it and fund it. So maybe some Christian movies don't get funded really well, and they can put it on the blockchain because the producers don't have big, deep pockets. It could be that somebody wants to do a documentary on a certain subject or push research on a particular issue. And without being able to fund it, they can't get it off the ground. So these kind of people may go to a company like Dream Frames and says, let's put our venture on the blockchain. And you've got a situation a lot like GoFundMe that people can contribute to certain projects. And with those certain projects, they're able to go forward with their project after they get the kind of funds that they need in order to get it moving. So here we've got a situation where the creative process of Hollywood can help to be better diversified in the amount of content they put out and the types of content they put out, because people can get funding that they couldn't get before. They have the ability to stay out of court by putting their terms of their contracts on a blockchain and have the smart contracts execute those contracts on an automatic and an ongoing basis. A lot of good can be done in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry by doing blockchain within that particular industry. All right. Well, Paige asks, so if someone were to put their project on the blockchain, how would people know how to contribute? How would they be able to contribute? Like, how would they know it's there and where to put the funds? Well, currently, like with a GoFundMe type page, you usually advertise to the people that you usually converse with and work with, okay? And, that wouldn't change. You would send them to a web page instead of the GoFundMe page. You would send them to a web page. There would be an interface to the blockchain. And realistically, when you look at blockchain applications, they look normal as far as the user interface. And most of the time, they're a web type of front-end interface. So they would be able to contribute, basically the same exact way. They would take credit cards, they would take coin if they wanted to, like Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other coin that has value, or you'd put in your debit card or even your bank account. The same funding ways there. So the technology really is very much the same as you would find in any front-end website. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is ask, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If everybody's told me that you're here for the end, hey, we'll see you next week. Enjoyed it. We'll look forward to talking to you again next time. Bye.